You're being manipulated. So am I. By politicians and by media who spread their messages further. And I want that to end. You see, whenever I speak up about a cause, about an issue that I truly believe in, I get labeled as something political, as a liberal. Okay, most of the issues that I tend to talk about, women's rights, tend to be, I guess, aligned with the liberal agenda, but why bring politics into something like this? Why can't it be about people and the actual issue? Why do we have to make it political? Why do we have to jump to conclusions about what political camp the person believes in? Why do we have to just, all of a sudden label them? Why can't we think about the actual issue and listen to each other? You see, when you label someone as liberal or conservative, when you label them as the other camp, you start seeing them as, well, potentially as an enemy, as the opposite of what you believe in. You create assumptions about the rest of their beliefs, because that's how the political climate works in the US here, which I find absolutely ridiculous. And you basically see them as opposite of you. You stop listening to them, you see them as the enemy, essentially, right? You stop thinking about what they're actually saying. You stop listening to them. You stop being empathetic to them, and you just jump to conclusions. That's lazy, unfortunately. I do that too. I'm not trying to put it on you. I'm just saying this is a general thing that we're doing, and guess who created this whole thing? Politics, politicians, by creating this huge divide, by putting us into these camps of, liberal, conservative, or whatever camps there may be, they're a juxtaposition. Is juxtaposition the right word? Let's check. I guess that could be the right word. It's basically all about contrasting someone's views against the other person's views. And the fact that they have created this divide helps them. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help the people who are actually potentially struggling because of the issue. It helps politicians, and politicians don't care about people. That's why, whenever somebody labels me as, one political camp or the other, and again, like liberal, I guess liberal most of the time, I'm like, I hate politics, because most politicians don't care about actual people. Most of them, maybe they started off as caring and, grassroots, whatever. They maybe started off as doing that, but then a lot of them transform into these people who just, all they care about is their own personal agenda, their own interests, and the interests of people who have invested money into them along their way, along their career, along them climbing this ladder. Unfortunately, that is the reality with most politicians, at least from what I've seen living in a bunch of different countries and witnessing politics as this circus that unveils itself in front of me without being able to vote. And I still cannot vote. I cannot vote in this country, so don't put me into one camp or another, because I don't care. Because I cannot vote. I maybe should care more and learn more about politics and all that stuff, but I cannot vote. I care about people. I care about issues. I care about, things that impact real people. And of course, politics will. Unfortunately, I cannot vote, so I don't have any direct impact. Once or if I have the right to vote in this country, I will do my research. I will do the ultimate best of making educated decisions and, voting for who I think would be the right person to get things across the line. But at the moment, right now, I cannot influence it at all. What I can talk about and what I do care about is issues and people's rights, like women's rights, right? I really care about that, and I'm sorry if it is in one camp or another. I don't care. It is people we're talking about. These things should be taken in vacuum, in isolation of politics. Politics and issues should not be hand in hand. Issues affect people. Politics, yes, it will have effect on people, but you know what? When did we stop listening to each other? When did we stop being empathetic towards each other? I have friends that are on both sides of the aisle, politically. But you know what? we can have a conversation about it and I can listen to their ideas. Why does it have to be one way or another? Why can't we exist in the gray zone? Because it's difficult. It is difficult to think for ourselves. It is difficult to make our own opinions. It is difficult to listen to other people and use our brain sometimes. I'm sorry, but it's true. And I'm not saying that it's just everybody else's fault. I'm also there, right? I know how difficult it is to read to different sources of media. Granted, they are all over the place because they're either that camp or the other. There's nothing like what is facts anymore, right? Everything's just so subjective. Yeah, there's a whole can of worms of how words are presented to us so that it's just almost a subconscious opinion, right? At this point, we have these perspectives that are formed by the media, by the sources of information that we consume. And, it is hard to read both sides and read between the lines of both. But it is necessary. I really believe that in order to stay alive, stay afloat, not get into some crazy conflicts that I don't even want to think about, honestly, we need to listen to each other. We need to be empathetic. We need to be able to have a conversation without raising our voice, without, okay, get passionate. You're passionate about something, but still be respectful to the other person. Still be respectful to the other human who is expressing their own experiences. We see the world through our human experiences, and your experience isn't the only one. Mine isn't the only one. We are all subjective human beings, and listening to the subjective viewpoint of the other person enriches us. It helps us become better people. And that's what open-mindedness is all about. Open-mindedness is apolitical. It is hard though. It is hard to be open-minded. It is hard to live in the gray area. And politicians and the media know it, right? All of those people who are trying to manipulate you, they know it. And so they do their job. They're manipulating us into being on one side or the other. And it's so much easier. They're creating this shortcut for us. They're like, oh, you've believed me before, now believe me again. Stop. Please stop. I'm really, really begging you to make your own opinion and to listen to other people when they're expressing them. Whether, they align with one party view or the other. Who cares? They're their experience. And by having conversations, by having more conversations, we can, at least some of us, can get out of this grip of manipulation of these political parties and the media just dividing us. Can we stop, please? Please, let's stop bringing politics into everything, because it is ruining us. It is ruining us as a society. It is ruining us as people who are thinking and, making their own opinions. First of all, thank you so much for making it this far in the video. I really appreciate you, and I love the fact that the algorithm has shown you this video. Thank you, algorithm gods. Sometimes you work for good. Thank you, honestly, for listening to my rant. It has been something that I've been thinking about for such a long time. And whenever I get a comment of, oh, you're just liberal, like what a waste of space, what a waste of talent, blah, 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 I'm like, why bring politics into this? I really hope that the next time you see someone who's expressing their opinion that don't necessarily align with yours, or maybe they're aligned with another party, let's say, just listen to them and listen to their opinion with an open mind, with understanding that that's their experience with the world and they can only speak from their experience, right? You might come from a completely different background, and so therefore, this is their experience and this is your experience. And then if you have something to say, just say it nicely and politely. And when we confront someone, I just have experienced it so much on the internet, having been doing this for a while. Whenever we confront someone, when we're confrontational, when our language is confrontational, the other person becomes defensive and you just create this fight. And that's counterproductive because that's dividing you even further, right? Because you basically start hating each other and everything that the other person says, you stop listening to each other. Comment in a nice way so that you start a discussion, a true discussion, instead of, a fight. Masha from the future here. Hello. Wanted to add something else to this video. So you see, we're talking with my team about this video, and Rachel said a very interesting thing, which I completely agree with, but she just put it in words. When you comment on something, on an issue or something, or on, let's say, a video about women being confident and unapologetic about themselves, their lives, etc., and you were like, oh, you're just liberal, happened to me, you're just liberal, blah, 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 it reads as you are conservative and you are against women being confident and able and empowered, etc., which doesn't really speak very highly of you. And again, why is it a political issue? Why can't women just be confident and empowered, etc.? And finally, there's another comment that I got when at some point on something else, some other piece of content where it was all about women being confident or getting paid equally, women's rights, being treated equally. Somebody said, oh, you're so liberal. And I was like, what about this post is political? Why are you assuming my political affiliations from this post? And that person said, oh, it's because you liberals, or I'm not quoting, something like that, you see gender, race, sex, sexual preferences, etc. in everyone. And to that point, I want to add, yes, those differences exist. We do not need to be homogenous to be treated equally and with respect. Those differences are there, and to be honest, I love being a woman. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be homogenous. And I'm sure a lot of people will also agree on the fact that they celebrate their differences. It's part of, who we are, of our identity. But that does not mean that we shouldn't be treated with respect. And that is a different issue. Seeing, and celebrating the fact that we're from different cultural, biological, or whatever backgrounds, it shouldn't be going hand in hand with not being able to get the same opportunities or not being treated with respect. Everyone, no matter what race, what gender, what sexual preferences they have, what other differences they may have, nobody should be treated disrespectfully. Everybody should be treated with respect and given equal opportunities. That's what I believe in. And that is not a political issue. I'm sorry, it is not. That is a basic human right. That is a basic human decency thing, So don't bring politics into that. And finally, point number 3, read media that aren't aligned with your political views. I know it's cringy. But you gotta do it. You gotta do it to see what the other side of the aisle is thinking. And I'm not saying that your side of the aisle is right or their side of the aisle is right. Everything is so subjective. But this will help you, first of all, see what the other side is thinking, and it will help you center a bit, if that makes sense. It will help you see how ridiculous both sides can be sometimes, and then help you center. I mean, you don't have to be in the middle, in the center, or I really believe that this whole spectrum of you're here, and there's nothing in between, there's vacuum, is just so wrong. Why can't we believe in certain things when they actually affect people? Whether it's women's rights or LGBTQ plus rights or anything else, that affects real people, affects their lives and livelihoods and the way they see the world, the way they experience the world. Why does it have to be political? It doesn't. So let's stop bringing politics into everything. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this video, and I'm happy to start a discussion on any subject as long as it is non-confrontational, because we've already spoken about this, right? So if you want to have a discussion, leave a comment in a non-confrontational way to start an actual discussion, and let's do it. Let's do this. Let's have this discussion. And yeah, thank you for watching all this way. I really appreciate you. Thank you for being open-minded, for listening to my rant, and I hope that you enjoy other videos that are coming on this channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. Press that subscribe button and don't forget about the bell notifications. If you haven't pressed that yet, or if you don't know what it does, it basically sends you notifications whenever new videos pop up on this channel so that you are always in the loop. You can also find us on other social media. We're starting discussions all over the internet, so you can find us as Stereotype Breakers in most social medias out there. There's also a list of links down below in the description to all of the social media so that you can just like follow us like that without leaving this video. Great. Have a wonderful time today you're currently experiencing. Bye.